We're back here
We're
today
back live,
with
episode 89 of the Quarantine Chronicles.
with a very special guest. Last time we talked to him, he was just just another YouTuber. Today he has joined the 100,000 subscriber club, and we have Andy Piluk.
Currently at 121,000. So he's
Wow.
gained 21,000 subscribers in a month. Pretty much 20% of your subs have, you've skyrocketed, 20%? Yeah. In a
Yeah.
month.
Hello, people listening. Hello.
They always say the first
I
100,000
would
is
like
the.
to toot my own horn. I hit 10,001 subscribers the other day, so boom.
Damn.
They always say
Going
the
for the
first
plaque.
100,000 is the hardest. So from there you skyrocket pretty much if you continue with it.
Hopefully.
So
That's the plan.
200K is next, and then you got to get that million.
Okay. And then the million plaque, and then you'll stop talking to us.
No, that's not true. I don't think a million is anywhere in my future, but I mean
come on.
that'd be nice, but I won't stop talking to you guys. I don't know why you keep saying that, but
Well,
It's a gimmick. It's a gimmick where eventually I text you and then you don't reply for 3 weeks. I'm like, oh, what happened?
I
Well,
do that to some of my best friends like 2 years ago. So I mean, it doesn't. It's nothing's gonna change. I respond to everybody. So
I'll show up to your house. I'll be like,
it's
hey,
about the grind, and
I'll make the 90-minute drive.
do it. I mean, I'm gonna open the door. So I mean, it doesn't matter. I don't ignore anybody.
so real quick, you posted a video on Twitter today of you shooting some hoops. So does this mean that whenever I come to Canada in like 10 years, when I'm able to cross the border, then we're gonna just play basketball all day or something?
I mean, sure. I mean, if you want the smoke, I mean,
Oh,
I'm
Justin will just be there. He's a
I'm
terrible.
Andy,
I'm
did you?
what?
Okay, like back in March when Mike canceled his trip, he said, oh, maybe I'll be there in June or July. It is
Oh
now.
God. Yeah. It might be June or July 2022 or something, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think people were expecting this. I said right from the beginning, and everybody's like, "Oh, you're Debbie Downer. You're just, you're trying to make it seem worse." I'm like, "Yo, like we're gonna be stuck inside for like a year. Like, there's nothing is gonna be fine. Like, in the city I live in, we have to wear masks everywhere now. Like, it's not like you can't go anywhere without a mask. So it's not changing anytime soon. So I don't know. It kind of sucks, but at the same time, I knew this was happening.
Yeah, everyone's kind of rushing back to get to normal when in reality it's like, well, like we might as well just stay inside while we can, and then later on like come back when it's all said and done. But right now it's like, well, you're gonna screw yourselves up in the long run.
Yeah.
But
This even though we're the Quarantine Chronicles, this is the wrestling podcast. That's why we're here. And Andy's brought up a subject he want to talk about. He want to talk about the greatest wrestling match ever. So Andy, go.
Okay, I guess I'll just. Anyways, I mean that was a great segue into the
that was a
topic.
terrible transition.
No, it was great.
He's just like, hey, come on my podcast, and then I want you to talk. Justin is killing it today. Andy, go.
Hey, listen, I thought it was a great transition, but I don't know. When that match was announced and I started to see the way that they were promoting it, Edge and Orton, the greatest wrestling match ever, I laughed so hard because I was like, Vince McMahon is probably laughing his ass off at the replies, and everybody who works for that company is counting $1 every single time somebody tweets because this was one of the best marketing tricks in sports or wrestling history, whatever you want to call it. It's hilarious. Like, people legitimately think that WWE was going forward with this as if it was actually the greatest wrestling match ever, when in fact they knew it wasn't going to be, but they wanted people to watch. So
Did you think? Hold on. Did you think that this was going to end in a DQ like we thought, where they were going to have this match and then Orton hits him with a chair, and then it's like, oh, he ruined the greatest match ever?
No, I wasn't thinking that way. I knew WWE. Like, my thoughts were, first of all, like I said, it was a marketing trick. But my thing is that WWE picked two wrestlers that are protected by wrestling fans that, they're never really gonna crap on this, completely. Like, this isn't gonna be 100% people just absolutely crapping on um the match, because it's Randy Orton and Edge. Like, nobody's gonna sit here and bash them all day long. They're two of the greatest of all time, two of the most over wrestlers of all time. So that was also part of it. It's like, okay, we're gonna call it the greatest wrestling match ever. We need to have two superstars that are protected in terms of their legacy. Because even if this match sucks, nobody's really gonna trash them. They're just gonna trash the idea. But I thought they actually delivered a really good match, and people watched, and WWE wins all the way around because the promotion worked, whether it was good or bad press. It's all good press in the eyes of Vince McMahon, I'm sure. And the match was actually good. So, I mean, I think that
So what was the opinion that you said you might differ from most?
well, that was my opinion. Is just that it was a huge marketing trick, and that people were going way too overboard with the fact that WWE was calling it the greatest wrestling match ever. Because, like, you wouldn't believe, like, the amount of people that actually thought that that was what WWE was going for. Like, none of it's a marketing trick. Like,
You're saying they meme themselves into a shoot.
yeah, like, people also have to remember, like, this is mostly a kid's product. So when the kids see the greatest wrestling match ever, they're gonna say, "Oh my God, it's actually gonna be the greatest wrestling match ever. We're gonna get Edge and Randy Orton." And then when people like us, or an older wrestling fan, see it, they go, "Oh, come on, they can't be serious. I need to see this so I can bash it on social media afterwards, or you know just watch it just to watch it." Like, there's so many. I think it's way more detailed than a lot of people think, because, like, I don't believe that WWE was actually going for, like, oh, okay, this is actually going to be the greatest wrestling match ever, because Undertaker had four amazing matches in a row with Triple H and Shawn Michaels, like those 4 years at WrestleMania. And to me, you could pick any one of those matches and be like, okay, this is the greatest wrestling match ever. But I mean, I don't know. I just thought it was a huge marketing trick, and a lot of people actually were believing that it was WWE promoting this as if it was actually going to deliver the greatest wrestling match ever.
Now it sounds like you're saying that most people hated this, and because for once, I feel like everyone loved this. Like, I
Well,
saw
not
so many
beforehand.
people. Well, yeah, beforehand, but like afterward, I saw like 99% of the people like, wow, that was great. Wow, that was great. Like, that was awesome. Like, that was amazing.
I saw that so much that people were saying, if you didn't like this match, you don't like wrestling. I'm like, I text Mike, I'm like, guess I don't like wrestling, dude.
Wait, so you didn't like the match?
I thought it was okay. I was falling asleep 10 minutes in. I don't know why. Maybe
Oh,
I was tired.
man.
But I was getting bored.
I
See,
loved it.
Like, the ending, the last 10 minutes was good. Like, they built, but then they started doing the finisher kickouts, which was fine, and then the punt was nice. I feel like Orton needed to win to build a third match. So the punt was coming. He was going to return to the punt. And then it was like, yeah, it was over. But like, I thought it was good. I didn't think it was like this amazing classic everyone was saying. I'm like, I was kind of falling asleep at the beginning of the match.
it was cool to see the punt return, because like that was like, that's the Randy Orton I remember, that that kick to the head like puts people's careers on the line. You know what I mean? Like, when I was a kid, that was like a big thing. Like, oh man, you ended someone's career by kicking them in the head.
Mhm.
But honestly, early on, when they had that camera angle that was just like unnecessarily underneath them,
Yeah.
that
That's
took me out of it.
out of the match. Those camera cuts were so like
That took me out
you
of
knew it
it.
was edited, and I was like, I don't like this. I like more fluidity in my matches.
Yeah,
That to me was like another kick in the nuts to wrestling fans that were like, um begging for more of, like, the Matt Hardy style matches. Like, they were just kind of like, oh, here you go, this is another camera angle and an edited match, like we did, with the Boneyard match. And, oh, you guys want to see more of this Matt Hardy stuff, or like that match that they had on the field or whatever, in AEW. Like, people were going nuts for that. Like, I feel like WWE just does stuff just to piss people off at this point.
yeah.
And I thought that was hilarious. I laughed the whole time. Like, you guys got to remember, like, to me now watching this, I know what WWE it to a degree, like I know what they're trying to do, and they're working social media to a point where they just are like actively trying to piss people off at some points, because then people talk about it, and that's more viewership, more money all around for Vince. Like he knows what to do, like his team knows what to do, like they're just pissing people off to get a reaction. Like they do it every Monday, they do it every Friday, and they do it every pay-per-view. It's the same stuff all the time because people are going to watch whether they're mad or they're happy. They're going to find something to talk about, and that's the whole goal for WWE.
Hmm. Yeah, I
I
just
don't
don't. I just don't
I,
want the wrestling companies like thinking that I'm stupid. You know what I mean? Like
well,
that's
I
that's
mean,
the whole
that's
thing.
like that's like any company. They're going to try to they're going to try to manipulate you to think different
Yeah,
ways,
just
but
don't let me know that. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
don't let me know that by having like a stupid
Don't
camera
tell
angle.
me the magic trick. Just show me the magic trick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I actually really enjoyed the match. I thought it was quite good, and I knew they were gonna have Orton win, but I obviously with Edge's injury, like it adds another, level to this because that got
Now it's
leaked.
from SummerSlam to like rematch of Mania now, probably.
Yeah, and the thing for me is that I think that it was gonna be set up the whole time with the punt coming back that Edge was gonna be gone for a while. Like
Hmm.
I think what they wanted to do was have Edge sit on the shelf again just to protect himself a little bit, just to see where he was at after a couple matches, um, and then reevaluate because you never know. Like it's still scary. Like the guy could still have an injury that could send him right back into retirement, right? And
Or worse.
yeah, exactly, or worse. And it's like, okay, I feel like they were gonna reevaluate, and I think Orton's on path now where he's gonna eventually beat Drew for the title. I think that that's WWE's plan. If I was to make that prediction, because like I mean, Orton's hot right now. Like everything he's doing is working. I mean, he just literally on Raw, I was just watching, like was cutting a promo on the Big Show, and everybody was like losing their mind because it was actually really good. Like he's about to end Big Show for a long time too. Like it's inevitable. He's gonna kick him in the head, and he's gonna do the Legend Killer stuff again because he keeps quoting it. He quoted it again on Raw tonight. But um, I think that eventually Edge is gonna come back and beat Orton for the title, and then I don't know what they're gonna do from there. But that's what I think is they're gonna do going
So,
forward.
so Mania 37, Edge Orton for the title.
Yeah, I think that's what they're gonna do, and then Edge is gonna win, hopefully in front of a crowd. Um, because I mean,
It's crazy. The elevation. It's like, okay, they did a last man standing match. Now and like then they had the greatest wrestling match ever. What's the one up to that? Oh, the WWE Championship match.
I think that
Which I mean,
this was, yeah, I think that this was what WWE's goal was the whole time. I mean, again, it's the safe bet. You've got two of the best wrestlers to ever do it. You've got a title there. Like they could do it without the title, but I just feel like they want to have the title involved in that match. I just think it makes a lot of sense. But I mean that's just a prediction. I could be completely wrong, and they could go a completely different direction. But I just think it makes a lot of sense.
but we're talking WWE, so
Yeah,
That's not gonna make
you know,
sense.
for all we know, they could go to NXT and win some tag team championships or something. Like I have no idea what WWE is gonna do,
I
but
wouldn't hate that. I mean, they've like thrown
Kurt
NXT to the
Angle,
main
Kurt
roster.
Angle.
I mean, you never know. Like they come up with the craziest stuff, but I personally hope that they go for the title match, and I think it'd be cool if Edge brought back the Rated R spinner belt. But I mean, a lot of
Oh
people
man,
probably would hate that. But I love that belt. But um, I don't know. I think that that's a possibility of them fighting for the championship. And I don't know. Fans seem to hate a lot of matches. I mean, they just announced Dolph Ziggler versus Drew McIntyre at Extreme Rules for the WWE Championship.
Random. Did he like win
Yeah,
a match? Did he win like
well,
a number one contender match?
didn't he like traded or something?
yeah, he got traded. The future considerations for AJ Styles going to SmackDown was Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler. So, I mean, Roode's not going to do anything probably for 7 months. Dolph Ziggler, is right into the main event slot. And what I find funny, and I mean, I said I wanted to touch on this right before we started the podcast with wrestling in regards to wrestling fans, but um, like Dolph Ziggler for the longest time has been somebody that fans have been like, oh, this guy's a great worker. He's so talented. He sells moves like crazy. You know, why is he not in the title picture? He gets put in a match against Drew McIntyre. Like now they're going to be fighting for the title, and everybody's like, oh, we've seen this already. This is garbage. Like, what are you talking about? There are some people that are like, this is going to be good. But there's a lot of people that are like, oh, here we go again. This sucks. It's like, bro, like, what do you want then? Like, you just finished talking about Ziggler for the past couple years, how he hasn't really gotten the true championship match, and now he's in one, and you're like, oh, this guy sucks. We don't want him. People are asking for another Bobby Lashley match, and I'm like, a month ago you hated Bobby Lashley, so like, they're never happy. Like, I don't get it. Like, I just watch Raw and SmackDown and go, okay, I mean, I'm not part of creative, so this is what we get. Like, just relax. Like, just enjoy the people you like and watch the match. And if your guy's not in the main event, it's because WWE has an overpopulated roster. And I've been saying that for so long. They have way too much talent on their roster. And that sounds ridiculous, but it's true.
No, it's definitely true. Everyone knows it. That's why when they released all those people, everyone's shocked. I'm like, well, like they wanted to hoard talent, and then now they couldn't afford. Well, they didn't want to pay everybody, so they just got rid of everybody. Not everybody, but like was it 30 people?
Yeah. And like, I mean, Rusev to me was like the biggest name. I mean, you can make an argument for anybody, but I mean, Rusev was insanely talented, I think, in
I,
terms of his
I
character.
Lou, the OC,
Yeah.
like
Yeah. I
they
mean,
made the match with Taker.
yeah, Taker's last match apparently. I mean, that's crazy in itself too. Like WWE's going in like a completely different direction, and I think what needs to happen is, they've said it before on TV, but it needs to happen for real. They need to literally have a reset, and that's going to involve them getting rid of a ton of talent or having another show, which I don't want them to. There's already too much. But unless the show goes well, like I mean, that's a different story. If the show ends up doing well, then sure. Or you send a couple of these guys to NXT. I don't know. You have to make these moves.
I don't think WWE needs another show that's in a tank. I think they need to keep
Yeah.
their stack up their shows they have now.
I mean, they already are stacked, but what we're seeing with WWE is when they don't know what to do with wrestlers, they're literally putting them in tag teams. Like Cedric Alexander and Ricochet. Those two guys have been over for so long on Raw. Like they were putting on really good matches. They were both over. And then they're like, well, we don't know what to do with them. So let's put them in a tag team. And it's like they haven't been doing anything on Raw. And they're two of the most talented up and coming guys I believe on the roster. I love Ricochet. I think he's insanely talented. But same with Cedric. But like I have a bias for Ricochet. I'm a huge fan. But um, like they just keep doing that with these people, and it's like Shinsuke and Cesaro. It's like what like those guys aren't meant to be in a tag team. Like what are you supposed to do with these guys? And that's the thing. There's way too many wrestlers, and there's not a lot of spots, and they have to figure out who are their guys going forward. You need to push those guys to the moon, and if it doesn't work, you go with that second tier, and then everybody below them, you have to figure out how you can use them in a mid card style. But stop with these tag teams. Like nobody believes that Shinsuke and Cesaro are a real tag team. Like I'm sorry, nobody does. It's been months, and I still am like, when are they breaking up? Like this is stupid. They're two of the most talented guys on the roster, but there's no spots available. Apparently. I don't know. Because, like, who are you taking out of the main event? Drew McIntyre. I mean, Braun Strowman is going to lose the belt to Bray Wyatt. So,
Which is like insane that I'm surprised he was in transitional champion and went back to Bray Wyatt.
it's going to, I mean, it's going to happen. And, like, I don't know if you just watched, like, the promo that, like, Bray Wyatt brought back, like, his old character last week on SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
And basically it was like, oh, like, we have unfinished business, which it was really good. It was a really good promo.
Oh
But
man, I didn't think about that. See, that's 2 times already tonight where you've said a match, and at first I'm like, well, that's stupid, but then like I really think about it, and it's like like Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre, they had that little thing where they were like Kevin Nash and Shawn Michaels. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And like they had that little feud, and then they like turned on each other or whatever, and now they're facing for the titles, so that's pretty cool. And then even Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman, it's like like, oh, that's like a stupid match. I don't want to see that. But then when you think about it, and you're like, oh man, there was the Wyatt family back in like the day. So, you
Mhm.
know, let's just. I feel like WWE right now, or at least this is what they should be doing. It seems like that's what they're doing. Is it's just like, you know what? Like we're not doing anything. Like it's a weird time. Let's just like throw stuff out there at the wall and see what sticks. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
that's what they did with Otis as the Money in the Bank. I was like, when he won, I'm like, what? Like, what are you?
yeah,
What are they doing with this
Oh,
guy? Like,
oh no.
forgot
what?
about that honestly.
And then it's like now it's like, you know what? I wouldn't mind him cashing on Braun.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's a possibility. Like, maybe it happens at Extreme Rules. They've been teasing it. So now it's like, is Otis really about to win the championship? I mean, his stuff is hot right now. I mean, everybody thinks him and Mandy Rose are hilarious. So
Might
like
as well.
if he wins, there's no crowd. I mean, he can't get booed. So
True.
if people don't like it, the only thing they're going to see it on is on social media. And then I mean, if Bray doesn't end up winning at Extreme Rules, then you just have him just absolutely beat the crap out of Otis and take the belt. Like there's that option there. But I don't know. It's just I think that if you really look at it, I think WWE is also trying to build Jeff Hardy back up into that main event spot. Like they've been doing that program with Sheamus, but I think like they're actually trying to get him to, you know, relive that brass ring feud that he
Hmm.
had with Triple H. Like I think they're trying to get him to do that again, which could be good. You never know, but um, I don't know. There's just not a lot of spots for people to be in that main event, and it's like you can't complain if your favorite wrestler isn't in the main event because there's actually a lot of people that are in that spot right now that I actually like seeing in that main event, and I'm sure a lot of other people do as well. Like Drew McIntyre, like he's had a good run as champ so far. He's doing pretty well, and everybody likes him. Bray Wyatt, he's gonna end up with the belt again. Nobody hates him right now. The Fiend is probably the best thing in WWE right now along with Randy Orton, right? So
Especially
it's
now when they need like a new Undertaker gimmick, and they borderline almost killed it at Hell in a Cell. They got to revive that.
yeah, yeah, that's the thing. It's like who do you take off of that mountain? Like I feel like they've created and found a really good sweet spot with their champions and the mid card level. Like Apollo is about to turn heel. Him with the United States Championship, I think it's been really good. It's working. And then you have AJ Styles as the Intercontinental Champion, and you're going to probably have some really solid matches that he's involved with, like the
I feel like
Gulag
watch
match.
a Taker doc and like Undertaker putting over AJ saying this will be my last match. AJ needs to go back main event now.
Well, yeah, I mean but that's the thing. They have him with the Intercontinental Championship, and it's like, okay, now that title means even more after watching that documentary because
Yeah.
AJ's got that belt right now, and it's gonna make that championship more important in my eyes. So you have AJ and Apollo, and you have, I mean, Braun currently, and Drew McIntyre. To me, that seems decent. Like that's actually pretty good in my eyes. And you just have to find ways to get creative and put guys in better matches or in or around those matches, which it sounds simple, but I mean it's really not when you have so much talent with limited time, you know? So I honestly I have no idea what they're gonna do going forward. I really have been liking MVP with Bobby Lashley as well. Like people are starting to get back into Bobby Lashley's corner, which is cool. He's using the master lock as his finisher now. Funny enough, he was the only one to break out of it, I think, when Chris Masters was doing it. But
I
um,
feel like you talking about wrestling, it's making me think everything's like a throwback Thursday because like I only watch the pay-per-views, so and I like whatever clips are on Twitter, like oh watch this thing. But like you explaining everything is like this is like a throwback Thursday. This is like Raw 2010 essentially.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that are coming back. I mean, you guys obviously heard about the Christian stuff. Like he came back last week and then he got kicked into oblivion by Randy Orton, which again I
Hmm.
thought was amazing that they did that because now it just adds another layer to that. Like, you kicked his best friend in the head. Um, and now, I mean, now
Gonna run
Raw's
back
literally,
2011.
yeah, at the time we're recording this, I mean, Raw's literally on right now, and they've got MVP with Apollo coming out, so it looks like there might be a faction being developed here. Apollo might be joining MVP and Bobby Lashley. Who knows? But there's a lot. I think there's a lot of good stuff going on. It's just there's also a lot of bad stuff. Like WWE seems to think that they need to, you know, push people that I don't really think make a lot of sense. And I know a lot of people are on Charlotte right now for that. Um, but I mean, she's always gonna be in a title match. I mean, she's Ric Flair's daughter, so
Yeah.
I mean, she's always gonna be in something. Her and Nia Jax actually are feuding a little bit right now, which again, Nia's not really anybody's favorite, and I took a lot of heat saying I actually really liked her a few years ago. So, um, I don't know. I feel like I'm just literally harping on what's going on in wrestling right now and what I like and don't like. But I don't know. Like, do people like especially the people that you guys talk to, like do people still watch like full episodes of Raw and SmackDown? Like, I feel like I'm one of like the only people that still
I
does
think
that.
you might be the only one of the only person I actually talked to.
My thing is, it's just like I love to tweet and talk about this stuff. So it's like if I'm gonna tweet and talk about it, like I want to make sure I know what's happening. And so that way, at least if somebody comes back at me, I can be like, "Hey, listen, like I'm watching too. I know what's going on." So,
Mm-hmm.
um, I think that Mike, what you said about them just throwing stuff right now at the wall to see if it sticks, I think they are doing that. Like I think they are trying. Like that Otis thing was textbook. Like that they were trying to do that. I'm excited to see what happens. A lot of people think he's gonna cash in on the tag team championships, but I just don't see how that's
Oh
gonna
my
work.
God,
But
could you imagine that? I
I
mean,
mean, it would be different.
yeah, it's not like they have one briefcase, or it's not like they have like a specific briefcase for the brand or what title. Or it's just like you cash in on whatever, pretty
I mean,
much. So
it would be
So,
funny.
did you watch the Undertaker thing? What'd you think?
Oh yeah, dude, I was holding back tears at the end. I mean, I don't think anybody could watch that and not feel a little choked up because I tweeted out, I was like, like this guy was a part of my childhood, like big time. Like, you know, everybody, I think a lot of people have a similar story. It's like when you're in school, especially like I was in elementary school and like the beginning of high school, like wrestling isn't the coolest thing to watch. Like if for my, I guess for my group of people, I guess I just I loved going home knowing that okay, now I can just go home and watch wrestling and talk to my friends and buy figures and do everything. And Undertaker was a huge part of that. You know what I mean? Like Undertaker was like a literally a larger than life type of guy, and like it just sucks to think like man, like he really could be done. Like I still think there might be one more match in him, but watching that documentary, I believe him. Like I kind of believe like that was it. And like they played like the George Strait song at the end there, whatever it was, and him walking outside and he was with his family. I'm like, damn, like the Undertaker's literally like done. Like what? Like this is insane.
I
So
thought watching the doc, you know how like they pushed for a long time Hogan was the biggest star in WWE, and then all that happened with Hogan, and then after they try to push Flair because Flair was like Flair's wrestling and he was into pop culture and all that stuff. Rappers were always talking about him and stuff.
yeah.
And now it's like Undertaker. They made this doc as like no, Undertakers are the best wrestler we ever had.
Yeah, dude, honestly, I don't think it should be a question anymore, and I don't know if people like but don't agree with it, but I think The Undertaker's the greatest of all time. Like I don't think there's really an argument there. In my eyes, I know some people will be like, "Oh, Stone Cold, The Rock, and John Cena." Like there's a lot of people that you can throw into that conversation, but I just think The Undertaker is the greatest of all time. He's definitely the best character that's ever existed. Um it's just wild to think that like generation is over. Like when I was watching that doc, especially like the last couple episodes, like I kept having like flashbacks to like coming home from school and watching him on like a SmackDown and then being so excited for the pay-per-view knowing like he was going to be in a match for the World Heavyweight Championship. Like it
Like,
just
isn't it
it
crazy? He started he started in 1990, and then got pushed to the main event slot like 1 year later, beating Hogan, and like literally he's a main eventer like almost ever since.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't take him out of that spot because it just wouldn't make sense to take him out of that spot. Like he's just that good. Nobody nobody could sit there and tell you that the Undertaker like didn't deserve to be in the main event slot. Like you just believed what he was doing more than anybody on the roster. And the storytelling, the promos, the matches, like literally everything was like damn near flawless that he did. Obviously later in his career, we all know through the doc, like there was a couple mishaps there, like a couple bad matches, but
We don't have to talk about this.
yeah, I
It
mean,
didn't happen.
I still think that Goldberg match, like him being concussed, is probably the major reason why that match went south. Like you're asking this dude who's just basically knocked his brains around to lift somebody in the air and throw them to the mat, in his, what is he, like late 50s, early 60s, Goldberg. Like I don't know how old he is, but um
Old enough.
I think he's
yeah,
50.
regardless, like the Undertaker has like a 95% success rate in my eyes of good matches. So I don't really know if you can find anybody else that has that much success, like with the streak and everything that he did outside the ring too, like just in terms of keeping himself in character. Like we're talking about the greatest ever. That's
Yeah, I'm glad because he lost at 33, and that should have been his retirement. But I'm glad he actually got off. He like rode off in the sunset with a win.
yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like um I was surprised too in the documentary with the that tag team match with Randy or with Roman Reigns.
I forgot about that.
Dude, like that was a good match. Like I remember watching that and thinking, "Damn, like okay, Undertaker, like that's pretty good." And then
I remember Shinsuke won, Taker won. I'm like, I turn off the show. I'm like, nothing gonna beat this.
yeah, that's it. But like in the doc, it shows that he was like, "Yeah, I'm done." And I'm like, "Damn, like he really told Vince he was done after that match." Like I wouldn't think he would want to leave after a tag match, but I'm so glad that he got that match against AJ. Like, dude, that was a dream match. Everybody wanted to see that, and I'm so glad that that got to happen. And if that's truly
That
like,
literally changed WWE, like that cinematic forever. Like after that one match, they probably decided like, okay, we're doing a cinematic match for every show.
oh yeah, 100% they have to. Like, you think of like the talent that WWE has in the type of matches that they can do with this cinematic stuff. It's like you go back and look at some of their feuds over the past couple of years and think, damn, like could you imagine if they did this with these two guys um at somebody's house? You know what I mean? Like somebody showing up to somebody's house, like that AJ and Samoa Joe story where like he was talking about like his wife that whole time.
Hmm.
Like, can you
Yeah.
imagine Samoa Joe showing up at the house? Like, that would have been insane. Like, a match literally in his backyard or something. Like, just beating the crap out of each other, ending up in the house. Like, there's so many different things they could have done, and they are gonna do going forward. Because they can control everything. They can control the spots. They can literally make it an amazing match, like they did with Undertaker and AJ Styles. Because who knows if Undertaker and AJ put on a better match with a live crowd,
I don't think so.
They
With that,
probably don't.
with that, it was like maybe it would have been a good match, but there's no way it would have been the Boneyard match that we saw. We're like, this is wild.
Yeah, dude, that match was incredible. Like, I think a lot of people were like, damn, like, okay, WWE, like, now I'm excited for night 2 of WrestleMania. Like, what's next? But,
I don't
no,
even think like a
I
regular
loved it.
match in front of nobody would have been like if they would have done a regular match in general. I don't think that would have been as good, anywhere close as good as what we got.
No, I think they needed the theatrics. I mean, they probably would have still put on a decent match, but it wouldn't have
Like
lived up to the
Undertaker
hype.
rolling up and like riding off in the sunset, like or in the night. It was like, oh, that's it. He's out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that to me, like I watched that and like I wasn't thinking about it that okay, this is it for him. I kind of was just like, okay, like this is a cool ending to it. And then like a couple days went by, I'm like, oh my God, like that was like the Undertaker being like, yo, like peace out. And then the doc came out, like, and I watched it this morning. I got the chance to watch it this morning, finally, the last episode there. Actually the last two. And I was like, oh my God, like he really was thinking that. Like he when he was riding off, he was like, damn, like that was my last match. Like that's crazy to me. I'm happy for him over anything, you know, as just a human. Like I'm glad that he's. I mean, hopefully we throughout that documentary we've seen how many times he's been like, yeah, I'm pulling a Brett Favre, like I'm coming back again. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
um, if he does come back, I really hope it actually means something and it's in front of a crowd and it's truly his last match. But I don't see how you can really top what he did.
I don't know that 15-minute package at the end when they showed all the stuff and all the pictures and all the videos. I'm like, damn, this is it.
Yeah.
That low key might be like WWE being like, okay, Taker, like bro, like we don't need you like getting really injured and then us getting canceled on Twitter. You know what I mean? Like you're done. Like sorry, we love you, man. You've given us everything. This doc is making us a bunch of money too, but you know we can't have you out here anymore doing stupid stuff. So watch this video package. You're done.
You
Like
also realize,
you're
like in
done.
a doc, like how close, like Vince and Taker are like definitely good with each other because he's worked there for so long. But you don't realize how close they are as friends.
Yeah, like I knew like I kind of had a feeling they were close just because like you see guys like Vince and Cena and you know like the top guys are usually like really close with Vince. I mean excluding guys like CM Punk, but um man, like that relationship was like
They're like
was
literally
cool to
best
see.
friends. Like,
Yeah, it
you
was
know,
cool to see. I mean, Vince has done a lot of really suspect stuff over the last year, but
Huh.
I mean, in his whole career, let's be honest here. But recently, he's done some stuff where a lot of people have been pissed off. But I was really it was really cool to see in the documentary their friendship and you know how dedicated Undertaker was to making Vince happy and making the company better, which is something that a lot of people don't want to do necessarily. They just go there, they collect their paycheck, and they want themselves to be over. Whereas Undertaker was truly just trying to, you know, give the best that he possibly could and get, you know, look at like the Randy Orton situation. Like he wanted to put Orton over, and I mean he was right. Look at Randy Orton now; he's a top five all time in my eyes. So um, I don't know. I really enjoyed the documentary. I think they did an incredible job, and I'm not gonna lie, during that package, and I think any wrestling fan had like that feeling in their stomach of like, damn, like this is really it for the Undertaker. Like that's crazy. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I know that you're like, I mean, I'm going to say this, and I know you said it, and Justin will agree with it. Like, I'm just sitting here thinking about all the people, like in wrestling, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair. Um, I think Undertaker is the greatest WWE superstar of all time, like of all time, because
well, when you think about
he
longevity,
never
right?
he
Those
never
decades he
left. He
touches,
kept the
like all the
same thing.
generations. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Like he touches like the early like late 90s, late 80s, early 2000s, like those generation, then the new generation, then the Attitude Era, then like the Ruthless Aggression, Cena, like PG era, the 2010s. I don't know what you call that, like the Daniel Bryan, Roman Reigns, then like even like AJ Styles, like that era. So like was that 8 to 10 different eras of wrestling?
Yeah.
and he never changed characters. You never saw him play a different character in a movie, and it's just like he never went to another company. He was loyal to the brand. He cared about it, and I think on that note, like he's number one, like on the WWE Mount Rushmore,
Yeah.
and because like if he does go right off into the sunset, now if he comes back for a specific overseas show, um, then we're gonna have a different conversation. He's gonna drop down to number five, but
Like, like
um,
Andy, like when you watch WrestleMania, did people used to come up to you ask you if Undertaker won?
Yeah, like dude, like when you're talking to your buddies at school, everybody wants to know if the streak's gonna end. Like you talk
yeah,
about it the whole time. Like you're always trying to figure out like what the Undertaker is gonna do, what match he's involved in. And yeah, like everybody, like for the casual fans that still cared about certain characters. I mean, the Undertaker was a guy that everybody was like, yo, like, did Undertaker win? Like, did he keep the streak alive? Oh, good. Okay, good, good, good. I love the Undertaker. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's always
Even
been him.
when I would order like WrestleMania, people would only come over because they're like, "Oh, Undertaker's wrestling. I'll watch that." You know?
Or
Yeah.
even like what's it called? Like the people, like there would be people who, like in my experiences, who would like joke about like, oh yeah, you're like it's fake, right? You still watch that? I haven't watched that since I was a kid, and then they'll turn around and like be like, hey, so did Taker win a Mania yesterday? Like what
Hmm.
happened? So yeah, it's like he's that character that can, you know, he can go into the non wrestling fans and pull them in, and Undertaker is just he's overall like the best. And if anybody says otherwise, then you're wrong.
Yeah. I mean, dude, like look at the storytelling that in those four matches that he had, like the Shawn Michaels ones and then the Triple H ones. Like that steel cage match or the whatever it was, Hell in a Cell steel cage.
So
Dude, like those near falls, like Shawn Michaels being involved, like, dude, who is doing that?
Mhm.
Nobody is doing that. Like
when they walk
Undertaker
off of
was
the
in
stage, that's like the most like that definitely will be like top 10 most iconic pictures in wrestling.
100%. And it's like, dude, nobody like when you watch those matches, it's like you literally almost forget it's fake. Like you're like, "Oh my God, like this is really just real. Like this is happening right now. How is this guy, the referee, beating the crap out of somebody who's in the match? This is cheating. He's gonna
So like
ruin the
they're
streak."
going like 20-0 was such like a big number.
Yeah. Like, dude, I just when I watch The Undertaker, I just believe everything. Like I forget it's fake. Like I believe in that he's literally the
It's like
Undertaker
what
from Death
like
Valley.
Marvel, like Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man. There's
Yeah,
like no
well,
difference.
that's what I mean. It's like people are like, "Oh yeah, well it's fake." It's like, "Well then you all the TV shows you watch too are stupid then because like sorry, but Breaking Bad is not real." Like sure, some dude might actually be doing that in real life, but like there's no Iron Man, there's none of this stuff and it's like there's no technically there's really no Undertaker, but to me there is,
Well,
like
plus, like when you watch a character for so long and you're so invested in the character, you don't want to see them do anything other than be that character. Like Michael Scott in The Office. It's like if I see Steve Carell do an interview, it's like no, 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 that's not Steve Carell, that's Michael Scott. That's not John Krasinski, that's Jim Halpert. So it's like that's not the Undertaker on Michelle McCool's Instagram with his kids. You know, like I don't know, playing dress up or something. That's the Undertaker. Like, so
yeah.
that's like that's goes to show like how big of a character he was throughout the years, and
Anytime you can watch, and I completely agree with you, Mike, but like anytime you can watch something like um the Last Dance, like the Michael Jordan one, was a little bit different. Like I'm already like a huge Michael Jordan fan, but like watching that and like knowing, okay, like now even that documentary chapter's closed and like we don't hear a ton from Michael Jordan. It's like that was like it gets you choked up when you see the Kobe Bryant stuff. It gets you emotional. You're never gonna see the guy again, which sucks, obviously. And it's like with the Undertaker, it's like damn, like that's just another part of your life where it's like we're never gonna like we're really never gonna see this guy do his thing anymore. He's not in his prime anymore. He's not the guy that is gonna wrestle a 40-minute match against Edge for the World Heavyweight Championship anymore. And it just got me. I think it got a lot of people too. Like I'm super excited for him, like I said, but man, he truly like is literally the greatest ever. There's nobody. He is Michael Jordan. He is Wayne Gretzky. He's the best. There's nobody better than him.
and on that note, I mean, you can't get any better than a Canadian saying that he's Wayne Gretzky. So, well, I think we'll wrap up on that one. But Andy, I mean, obviously, like you got to come back on in a couple of weeks when you're at like 150,000 subscribers, and we'll talk some more
Oh
wrestling
God.
and you know all that fun stuff. So
150 would be nice. I'm gonna predict the next time I'm on here I'll have 137. That's
That's
my
still a
guess.
lot, dude. That's
yeah,
still a
no,
lot.
that's still 17 1,000 people that
Every
click the
time I
button.
bring Andy on, he did whatever subscriber amount I have, he adds it to his subscriber amount.
All we're saying is you were on the podcast one day, and then the next day you had 100,000 subscribers. I'm not saying that's because of us, but I'm saying it's because of us. So that's
It was. It was.
100%.
We gave you that little 7 subscriber bump ski.
Yeah, that was the push. That was the push of the century. I needed that. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay. All right.
I didn't say we crossed 100,000 because of us, but you definitely got to 99999.
Yeah, 100%.
We were there to replenish the 4 people that unsubscribed when they saw that it got close to 100,000, and they wanted to be. They wanted to be.
They wanted to be those guys.
Yeah, they wanted to be the one that sent you the screenshot. But all right, well, that's it. We'll talk to you again after a while.
You're.
Yes.